Going ahead still with this read, we'll check first if it needs to be still continued and done with. It's the 17th of March 2025. It is Monday. The timing actually is 10 in the morning. Yeah, it's 10 and a little, I would say 10:10, in and around 10:10 in the morning. The postcode is already any which ways as part of the video. The reason is because I don't want anybody stealing data. So this reading is done at Karnataka, Bangalore, 560077. I'm not Varsha, I am Jaya. My name is JAYA.ADVANI. We take Shirdi Sai Baba's blessings from his Samadhi Mandir, which is the same as what's on my table. We take Go Mata's blessings, which is down on that side. We take Krishna's blessings. We take Shani's blessings. We take Vishnu's blessings. We take Shivji's blessings. Shivji is very important in my case. He's supposed to be my protector and also supposed to be very important to my well-being. So we take Shivji's blessings and we continue with the reading. Okay. Now, what I came to a conclusion before I ask if we need to continue with this reading, it's about May and everything that springs from her or offshoots from her. Okay, we have identified that she is the Rom and the Ram. She is the root of AI. And at a time when she was a tot, her father was a scientist, Haldeman. He disappeared from South Africa, I think I was told, declared dead, but then they saw that he was alive somewhere in the NATO countries. I don't know whether it was Canada, perhaps it was Canada. Okay, now someone thought they saw him alive still in Canada in those days. So Canada is huge. To be able to think you've seen somebody over there, that means I don't know who would have thought they saw him, but we leave it. Okay. What came to my mind is, yesterday I told you that when I was watching Mindhunter, in Mindhunter, I said I saw a small little frame which looked like Shah Rukh in episode number 5 and 6. So maybe they had put the ego of Shah Rukh on that man, but I think you should have a look at it and see if you see what I see. Number 1. Number 2, I did a check between Ram Kapoor. His wife, strangely enough, her name is Gautam E. Kapoor. I didn't know that, but that's his wife's name. And I did a little reading on them. I don't really follow through with sitcom anywhere. So I had to do the little research to kind of come to a conclusion. Also, I don't know this. His name is Holt, who's in Mindhunter. I don't remember something. I don't remember the same full name, but I also read up on him. He's 61 years old. He's 63 born, I think. And he's got a full history behind him. Yet I'm saying that what did it trigger? It triggered, somehow I felt there is a similarity between the Indian Ram Kapoor and Holt, who is a complete foreigner. So I'm saying maybe something has been fitted into my body, or OTT and artificial intelligence sometimes you get a small little glimpse of an overlap. Now, neither have I really watched Ram Kapoor at all. Well, I did watch one movie of his, but that was about 1-2 years ago. If you ask me what the movie story is, I can't remember. But it had to do with some island and things like that. It was again on OTT. It was a very entertaining movie. I was very happy to see it. And he was in that movie. That's the only thing I've seen of him. I don't watch the sitcom, as I said. I've just It's not my thing. So anyway, that's happened how much earlier, plus I don't know much about his situation. Yet, was it artificial intelligence fitted into me that got my brain racking and saying, hey, 1 minute, I feel that this Holt, who's in Mindhunter, reminds me of a Ram Kapoor. And I didn't know his name. I said, Ram, that man in that thing, that kind of thing. Then I had to again break my head, and luckily in this reading I've got the word Ram. Okay, so it made it easier, right? And then the coincidence that I've been complaining about some girl called Gautami that was brought to my house for a different purpose. But I said it seemed like a setup, got to do with the artificial intelligence because of the talk that was done in that last 1 week, or those last 5 days, or last 1 week. Yes, I established it many times. I have cribbed about it. And I was saying his wife's name is, actually Ram's wife's name is some Sakshi or something else. Okay? Shweta or something. God only knows. Sakshi or something. But that doesn't matter. Point is, now I've done the research and I understood that Ram is actually an established entity with his wife, and they're Indian. Holt is an established identity and an entity born and brought up abroad. Yes, yesterday in one episode that I watched, I say this guy, and they're all like, guests on the serial. There are 8 episodes or 10 episodes or 12 episodes, so I would have moved to episode number 7. And I don't know, it could be episode number 7, it could be episode number 8 in season 1. Over there I see one guy still looking like Farhan Akhtar. I say, this is the Farhan Akhtar. But he's like a guest role, so he doesn't even get the credits. Like Holt has his credits written out for him. Here, I don't know, I didn't look at it for the guest appearance. I didn't see it. I just went looking at this, the star cast of the entire Mindhunter. And okay, these guys don't get credit. They're not mentioned in the credits because they're the guest, for that particular 2 episodes, 1 episode, whatever it is. So Shah Rukh Khan, though I said earlier in 5 and 6, then 7 and 8, somewhere over there, I said, but this is looking like Farhan Akhtar. Okay. So I don't know if OTT is overlapping the Indians with the foreigners. But what did this trigger off? This is actually not even about them. It took me back to 2012 when I was staying in Auckland. At the time, the Ek Tha Tiger movie had already been released, but Jab Tak Hai Jaan and the bathtub and whatever was happening somewhere else in the world was going on. It's very important. It's very important. Because it is in Auckland where I believe, while I was staying in Auckland, that girl was manhandled by more than one man. What happened with me? You can call it rape also, I don't know. I had already started working with some firm on Auckland, that street that there is with all the shops. One of those buildings, I got a job. And I didn't work there more than 1.5 months, or less than 2 months, because then I decided to come back to India. That also was a setup, because that whole place was filled with papers. Very disorganized place. Over there also the synchronicities were a little too much connected with, the sitcom every year that Salman Khan does. So they were like yet pulling out things from, let's just say they were still pulling out things from my life. and placing it on his sitcom. But that process had started as early as 2009. But why does my stay in Auckland become so important? It is how I moved from Hamilton to Auckland, which is so important. What is the important part? How I moved from Hamilton to Auckland. So we get a study visa converted to a work visa. It is part and parcel of the study visa. If you study for 1 year, you get a work visa for 1 year. Generally, you get the visa within a time frame because they don't want you in the country longer than necessary. They know you are a student. They know you have to spend money. You have to live. So they in fact want to churn you very quickly out, so you move on. In my case, what happened? My work visa was given to me 2 weeks, 3 weeks after the timeline for getting a work visa under normal circumstances. I don't even know if it went from 2 weeks to a month. So I got my work visa later, anything between 2 to 3 weeks to 1 month later than what the dedicated timeline for everybody is. Now my reading said that the cab drive from Hamilton to Auckland, some identity was changed. So did somebody else go as me earlier and get caught? So they did me a favor in a way. They did me a big favor in a way. But at the same time, somebody else got caught, is what I understand. The other thing is about Mr. Akshay Kukreja. Mr. Akshay Kukreja, when he has met me in Hamilton during the semester break, and then when he has returned back, so what he has done is he has first come to check the university, he has come to check something, so he stayed there for like 1 month. Then he has gone back to Delhi, where he says he has arrived from. He goes to Delhi for 1-2 months. Why waste money? He leaves and goes back to Delhi. Then he returns from Delhi, and now he will settle as a student doing hotel management in University of Waikato. He's the Indian version. So how I say, Ram is an Indian. Looking like him, slight overlap is what? Holt. But there is no connect between the two of them. So same way with Akshay Kukreja, for most part of my interaction of those few months with him, he's the Indian version. But towards the very end, when I have not got my visa is delayed. So I'm also wondering, will I get it? Will it get rejected? What is the thing? Why is it taken so long for me to get the visa? Is there a problem or what? And I'm more worried. I better start working, because how I can keep spending the Indian rupees? I have to be careful. So I'm more worried about that. So towards the end of my stay over there, Akshay Kukreja and his friend Neha have been dropping in into what is the student accommodation? The student accommodation or the motel. Once you leave like the university and the student accommodation, the motel where we stay at, and they've got like it's like, because it's New Zealand, it's Hamilton, they got lots of acreage of land. So anyway, the place that I'm given a room at is like a tabela, something like this, exactly like this. This is the shape of it. There are rooms on this side and there is rooms on this side, and there's a passage in between. There's the ladies bathroom over here. That means it's like communal bathroom, where everybody who's ladies over here go and have their shower and shit or whatever, or the morning things, whatever they do here on this side. The same thing for the men is on this side. In case you're cooking, then there's a place where you can wash your vessels over there. There is an actual, so this is one tabela. My room happens to be somewhere over here. Neha's room is somewhere over here. Akshay's room is not in this tabela. There's another one which is behind over there. In that there's a kitchen also somewhere for communal cooking. So there's like a huge thing for cooking on that side somewhere, I can't remember. But there is like a structure, a building, not a tabela, but it's a structure. So Akshay has decided he doesn't want to stay in this tabela. He's decided to get a room over there. So he gets his room over there on the ground floor. It's like, in a building, he goes and stays there. But he always visits Neha and then he comes visits me. So the thing is, I have observed him now for some time. He's talking all the time. He's talking and he's always like, kind of giving all the information. So we've seen him enough. Then he disappears for whatever reason. Photos have been taken out of Akshay Kukreja. That's okay, my Niba has a baby. I don't know if this recording is picking it up, but that's whatever, that's their thing. Going back to Akshay Kukreja, he's like brown skin and he looks Indian, right? He's like this oversized tall guy with a brown skin and like a baby face, but he's like a brown skin. On him, the Indian, they have put the ego I got in my reading of Hafiz Syed. Not that he was Hafiz Syed, but they put the ego of Hafiz Syed on him. Okay? But what is surprising is towards the last 2 weeks or last 10 days of my stay at that same Hamilton motel, suddenly I see Akshay Kukreja has arrived. He's with some other boys, but now he's very fair skinned. And instead of being, let's just say, like baby fat, which if you look at his photo, which was put out on Facebook, he looks like he's like, an oversized, overgrown child with baby fat on him. Now this guy is looking like he's well worked out. He's fair also. I'm not saying Akshay does use makeup and all that. He does do, but I don't think you can do that to your entire body. And how do you suddenly become well worked out? You can't well work yourself out just in 2 weeks. This guy does not even say hi to me. He looks straight through me and he walks out with his friends. The height is still tall. The body is worked out. The face now is fair. And he kind of, he's walking with a swag. If that's what you want to say it, I said swaying the hips. But kind of not swaying the hips. It's called a swag. Like, he's like walking, you can say with a swag. but he's tall. He's not short. So I'm saying, oh, he is like what Holt would be. Vis-a-vis, the earlier Akshay Kukreja, the brown skin guy, would be what Ram is. Something did happen to somebody somewhere during the time that I was studying at Hamilton and then moved to Auckland. These guys are using sound and all that to change location and to confuse the authorities, is what I understand. So they, I think, are using my home also like as digressionary tactics. That's what I feel. The experience of seeing the overlap of a Ram with a Holt, where there is actually no, they are two individuals, they're two separate individuals, brought back the memory of New Zealand 2012 and the strange manner in which the interaction with Akshay Kukreja happened. The strange manner in which, the coincidence with which I even got my visa about a month later or 3 weeks later, whereas I think New Zealand is very precise about everything. And then Akshay Kukreja suddenly, in no time, being a fair guy, and well worked out, and he refuses to say hi. In fact, he seems to have an attitude problem. But just before that, every time he's going here, there, he's telling me everything that he's doing. In fact, he goes, spends time with that Neha, then he has to come here and talk something. Then when he's going out also, he has to say where he's going, what he's doing, a whole load of stuff. But overnight, when he's fair-skinned and he's like, now he looks like otherwise he's got baby fat on him. That disappears, and now this guy is like well turned out. But he just walks through me and looks through me. So that also came to my notice. Then of course, when I have left Auckland and I have come to Singapore, over there is a lady who says she probably had a seat with me, but now she wants to sleep on both seats. So she tells me, can you, or she says, no, can you like just go and sit in the empty seat over there? And she wants to sleep on like I get a window seat. So she wants to take that and the other one, and then she seems like middle-aged. So I say, okay, all right. I go and I sit, and there are two fat men sitting over there, and that is in the aisle. It's in the middle. But then these guys misbehave, and that is Singapore onwards. I found that also really strange. So I don't know what is chasing my tail since then, but I think it should be looked into, actually. That's what I feel. Okay? And since this has got to do with me, and since it has got to do even when I was at Hamilton at University of Waikato, what did I say? I was surprised to see that that's like mostly farmland. And most students who come over there are on scholarship, or their government sends them over there for some completion of studies to have a experience that is different. To have an experience that is different in another land as an exchange student. So I didn't really see people dressing up as models in the first semester. the model kind of crowd came in, and I actually had to question it. Hey, 1 minute, all this crowd is looking like, very well turned out. How did this happen? That also I experienced. Then the dean of the management says he has to follow the trail of Saudi money and do what the Saudi is doing for the funding. My teacher, who is retail management, talks about chipping the hand for any financial transaction that is in retail management. Is this kind of a QR code that you have put on my hands? Because it refuses to go. This also and this also. And now the same thing on my chest. The miscreant is living here on Purva Palm Beach grounds. Because you are breaking into my home, I think, and playing with the cameras of my home. What did you say? So you will be sent to jail for 50 years. You cannot be this thrashy. No, you cannot be that thrashy. And to get access to my house, you have to be living in and around my home only. Anyway, let's move on and ask the pendulum. Direction. I don't know why they've been chasing my tail. What are you really looking for? You did something to my cousin Trimona? Because Umesh, Kabir and Akhil Atonomo, along with my sister Varsha, have been told. It is Kabir Akhil's third brother Nitesh who got into an accident and his nose has never been the same since. Yet at that time in your Ekta Tiger movie, Katrina has talked about Pinocchio. Long nose. So there is too much that there is upside down, and mostly it is the Advanis who have got affected one way or the other, along with the 3 Rao children, apparently. There is the Sadrangani. Along with Aarti Nanthur, who is again the Sadrangani. We talk about Aarti Nanthur, who is the Sadrangani. From my shoulder blade, you played some buzzer sound. Why did you play the buzzer sound? Yesterday, I have asked my mother in the evening whether what's in my ears can be removed. She says yes. I ask her, do you advise I do it? She says no, keep it on. Simply because then the likes of Ambani, through, let's just say, lawful intervention, can explain to him that he's stamping down on his own foot if he's going to tie up with Starlink. Today, it is possible that this country has managed to keep its head above water because of somebody's ability to think. Tomorrow they stamp down on your thinking, it's over for you. You will be outside your own home. I have also told you this before. they know how to grab assets. If when it comes to Ratan Tata's Taj and his interaction publicly with Cyrus Mistry, you have not understood it. And my reading says the OC is connected, maybe by association, transferred to their bearer and waiter. You want all your assets to be transferred out? I have also told you people, when I say I have also told you people, you don't repeat from that fuck all fan and say wait I. You don't do that. That's stupidity. That's a height of stupidity. I, out of my own intuition, before also told you what? Even Ambani can be thrown out of his own assets overnight. He won't even know how. It's a digital effort. What? Do you know what they have done in this house? She has biometricked, the one who is trying to steal assets, has biometricked her eyes to my main door and to the door lock. And all the time, this fucking house calls me, somebody who's working in my fucking house, that I spent 96 lakhs to purchase. Gone through the whole bloody fucking registration process. Here in Karnataka. With SM Krishna being what? Married, his daughter married to my cousin. My father's sister married to that Vithal Malia of United Breweries and Kingfisher, all homegrown here in Karnataka. He's an ex-CM over here and an external minister. Yet you have done all this shit at my home. So what do we expect then with thee and mine are dimes. Every day, 100 times in a day you call my stuff dimes. But for dimes you couldn't fucking let it go. How can you let go of the larger things? I don't know about mad. I don't know who mad is to start with. Be wed mad. I don't know any mad. If you have brought shapeshifters into my home, because it is saying that something did happen to my father first. After that to his sister, Kailash Hingorani. What did you do with her is the big question. Then you have Reardo entered into a setup that is not yours. When you have Reardo entry into a setup that is not yours, what have you spurned on the streets about the original family? You started insulting me at Fort Convent School starting when I am only 13-14 years old. And you've gone to town, you got that to become some kind of truth amongst those at the bottom to the middle of the pyramid. You've done what you've done through word of mouth, and simultaneously you have also done the QR coding or the barcoding or taking information on me without my knowledge and putting it to your SATA FATA SHITA drive. Then you have cut the genes, making me look now like my mother, but I'm the first child. And if you see the history of all my photos, I look like my father. Because the first child goes on the father. And it was always established throughout my life that Jaya is on Kani and Kailash, and amongst the children, Shri and Umesh are similar. Suddenly, how you've changed my looks, looking like Anita. How have you done that at times? Anita herself says she is no more. Anu Sadrangani. So how did you edit my genes, remove Hukumat Rai Advani's side of the genes is what I'm told. You edited it on purpose. And how did you take me to Anita? You are trying to make me the younger daughter? I'm not the younger daughter. I'm the older one, and I'm Jaya. Varsha's no more. The mother-daughter team, you've been calling them the cleaner class. Then now you've taken that identity and dumped it on me. What are you playing at? I want to ask you. And what does the Indian military know about this shit? What do you know about this crap? This shit is coming from Europe, along with your homegrown Puna. I'm removing these glasses. This also is contributive to, I think, the deviant behavior. Connecting it to what? Some IP address or something on the rerouting of the router. The frame is only a frame. The glasses is what matters. But yes, that was done also like Lenskart, which Katrina was forever pushing earlier. She and Salman Khan. Then that even Modi is showing you on YouTube. You'll see Modi always fiddling with his glasses in some photo or the other. वो यही चीज से connect है. And no, it's not a joke. It's not your place to make the Indian Parliament a joke or to fool people and then on the back of them really drop them in a place where they'll not be able to ever get out. Samir also used to wear glasses, to be fair enough. But then these people are also talking when I'm sleeping in the night. They have to say something really rude. That time though I'm not wearing anything. I don't have anything on me except the blanket covers me. Have you placed some shit in the blanket also? I sleep with earplugs on. You still manage to talk some shit. Either from the left side of my body or the right side of my body. What are you getting at? What are you hoping to bloody achieve? Take it and shove off. I don't have time for nonsense. Okay, now Shirdi Sai Baba taking your blessings. आंटी तुम जिहाद मत बोलो, पीएफआई मत बोलो, सम्मान मत बोलो. ये चीज़ों को बात नहीं करना है. तुमको सम्मान चाहिए, तुमको फ्रीडम चाहिए, जन्म से पाओ. इंडिया के अंदर 14 लोका है. भागवतम बहुत कुछ तुमको बताता है. तुमको पढ़ना नहीं है, मत पढ़ो. इट्स ऑल राइट. The Bhagavad Gita, on the back of which the BJP won the election with Patra holding it. For that only for Modi we get sold Sita, sold Gita. Let's hope he didn't sell our finance minister. Because she's Mrs. Nirmala Sitaraman. Then he's been called Satan and anti-Indi. The dance drama has done the Islamic Quran way of teaching babies how to hold a gun and work in those camps in the name of Allah. He cannot do that in India simply because India is Hinduism. So he will use old dog tricks, only change what it is that emotionally connects with the largest population in India, which is Hindus. Why you don't understand it? But my mom is saying she's no more in the body. Then which Anita are you talking about? Then on that back, what all have they done? Who sold my rights? Where is the rent going of my body? To which ER? One in Pune and one in Europe. How did it go over the border? Through whom? And on what connect? Where even I don't know that the shapeshifter who's presented himself as my father has taken the leave license renewal because I'm going to New Zealand. That property is bought in my name half and my sister's name half, and Suman Towers has been bought half in my name, half in my father's name. He's the first name, I'm the second name over there. But all that arrangement is done when I'm 5 years, 6 years, 7 years old. Not even 7, I think much earlier than that. So suddenly from the 70s, how had you have the balls and the gall to misuse a POA for the renewal of a lease of a property bought in my name and my sister's name when we are only 5 and 4 years old, when it is the 70s? Then what are your ethics? How desperate are you when you call my home dimes and yet you have stolen 50-60 lakhs just breaking my locker? Hard-handed tactics, gone, broken the locker, pulled out all the original property papers, taken my parents' divorce papers, taken all the silverware, taken whatever gold was lying around. Then what is your background? You come from my background? No, you can't be from my background. Who are you then? The locksmith who was brought to my home to open the lock because it wasn't opening. Open the lock, we see everything is gayab from there. Downstairs my clothes are hanging in that bloody cupboard. Yes, because that's my cupboard. It is with my clothes. And the locker above it in that cupboard, I cannot open it with my key. So I called the locksmith. He said, your father and sister have already called for the locksmith. I had opened this earlier. So he's identified them with people with the face of my father and my sister. But my dad doesn't need to do that. Twice when I've given him the bloody keys of the locker, he's handed it back to me. So it is foul play. And it is by people who are not from my family. All this time you're calling me Varsha, Varsha, Varsha for what? If Varsha was pulled off, then whoever signed for Varsha took Varsha's share. Now what are you trying to do? Go for Jaya's share. But I am Jaya. So just be careful about these guys who are masquerading. Huh? You don't believe them blindly. They will bring you worse than the streets. Ambani, you have 600 people who work for you in your home. They'll eat you up alive. What did I tell you about Mr. Ravindra Merchant? The guy who was hired to look after him in his old age beat him up. Anita was listening into it. Like that, she knows this group of miscreants know in which houses, which elderly have been beaten up. The more people you have working for you, the more Europe wants to thrash you. Explain it to your daughter. And her name we are not getting proper at all. Neither her nor Anant. Who will get it the worstest is the lady of the house. That's who they go for when it comes to this matter. Why? Because the lady of the house has to take part as the lady of the house. She has to get everyone else to do their job. But then that only goes against her. Okay. I'm kind of blank, so I don't know what to start with. Just give me a minute. Okay, are you with me as of now? Okay, do you want me to still continue with the May reading, May and reading? Do you still want me to actually go and is there still something that needs to be read up on, let's just say May and topic? Is there still some stuff that needs to be found out? So you'd like me to still continue with just deciphering those alphabets? Okay, so I'll do that. I'll move the camera on the other side. So there is some French here, and I think it goes back to May Musk. Someone's talking about her to her in French. Because if she walked the ramp, she definitely would have gone to Paris. She would have definitely gone to wherever they have that Milan. So she would have known French for sure. Plus, she's lived in Canada where French is something they speak. Right? Now, I don't know whether I don't think this is about Lord Ram. I think this is to do with the Ram and the Rom. So whoever understands French, the word TOUS, my French is so very bad, so I won't even try. Because no, I only did French for 3 years, scraped through, primarily to pass my SSC. But I didn't go to any actual pronunciation, refinement and all. I didn't do all of that. So if I try talking French, it's going to be very weird. So what I understand about this word is it means absolute, it means all, it means they say they can use this word in 10 ways. It just depends what the formation of the sentence is. So whatever this means, I think it is saying that absolutely, it also means all. So this means and in English, you and absolute all ram connected with connected with AI. So it said that was the root of everything in English. This also is there. So whatever that means, okay? In short, what it is saying is the artificial intelligence ROM and RAM connected with the digital effort absolutely as a root goes back to the tot connected with May. Was it May's tot or was it May as a tot herself? Elon's name is not here. Eon's name is not here. Her daughter's name is Tosca. but we don't have Tosca. We have Tosma, Tosra. Her other child's name is Kimball. Kimball, there's no question of Kimball. So it is either May or Tosca, or then clones of Tosca. Ideally, Tosca should be a C over here, but we don't have that. So I told you I saw Anil Sadrangani, he's a Rao. Sunil also is a Rao. I told you I saw Anil in a forest like area, a very green area, a dense green area, but he's doing a lot of work which is like a camp, setting up of a campfire, setting up of camp stuff. And somehow they are under pressure, and I don't know whether he's expressing disdain or then wariness at the work he's doing, but he's being told either you do the work or you can get out. You do the job or you'll be thrown out of the job. And he's doing very heavy work over there. He's not alone. There are a bunch of many other Indian boys, young Indian boys. So there are about how many people over there? But this is in Europe, and they're setting up like, I don't know, it's like cooking food and things like that. Anil is no more. Anil Sadrangani, Sunil Sadrangani, whose name we never get spelled properly. And then there is Shilpa Sadrangani, I'm not sure. For her we got a Silpa. Binu Rao has been in front of me, but in 2017 I myself have done, it was brought to do her Shraddh, so we did it. Her and Anil. So anyway, over here it is talking about to do with Tosca, something to do with EU, something to do with the IT, to do with the ROM and the RAM. The only thing that is missing over here is the C. What I understand is whenever they put too much stress on somebody, it is primarily to digress you. Go back to the what was the thought pattern I told you about? जो दिखता है वो है नहीं, और जो है वो दिखता नहीं है. So wherever your mind is on purposely drawn to, and it is clever tactics, that really is what you have to look at. The areas completely avoided, which seems like nothing, are where you have to actually spend your time on. So in this case, if Elon is the one who may spend a lot of time glorifying as the whiz kid, it got the world, along with America or whatever governments there were, all of them are bloody greedy. To the industrial also, bloody greedy. When these guys are thinking कि Starlink अब underserved के areas में और coverage होगा. He's counting the change that he's going to get on every connection. He's counting the profitability. They know this, so they will play on it. But that is your biggest trap going forward. That will trap you only. Forget about what all you will make in the future. What you have earned so far with all your hard work over 2 generations, that will go from your hands completely. Because your mind only will not work. And if any of the kids have been any which ways exchanged, then they don't care. They just don't want to go back to the godforsaken life that they had prior to becoming a somebody. But they were given that chance, and in that identity many people are churned. So they're very disposable and replaceable. That they don't seem to understand. They're there only for the unscrewing. So in this case also that only comes out. What is it? All eyes are on whom? Elon. But who has actually got all the stuff connected with the ROM and the RAM? So May and Sam and Tosca. CCC is that Cyrus mystery. Cyrus mystery, according to my understanding, is just like what could happen to anybody. Let's say my cortex is put off. The cortex which is connected with artificial intelligence, I don't know with what it is connected to, but it requires the IP to, it requires telephony and IP to control my thought patterns. My decision making will be controlled by that brain signal sent by the IP address or through telephony. But obviously what it is sending me is for what? To keep me on a back foot, at the same time to ensure that their work gets done on the back of me only. I'm only one small individual. So the same way, if somebody's brain cell, the cortex is put off, the IP and the telephony is connecting to the device fitted into the brain, and no, it is not such a big 1-inch device and all, it's a small little thing. And yes, it may have to do with QR coding. It may have to do with some latex, it may have to do with silicon, and that is coded. Liquid robotics is what they call it. That could be the external, that could be an external factor. Like this is, I think, connected to meta, something of that sort. So that makes it very confusing. Yet there is a component of within the body also. So to do with the ROM and the RAM of the artificial intelligence connected with E, connected with IT, this is showing a different angle to it. In my case, it said that Sunil had lost the key to whatever had been connected to my body. Without my permission, without asking me, I don't know who has done this. But this was said in 2022-23 after, I don't know, was it before I went to Holiday Inn Express or after I had just returned? The key had gotten lost and it was on the back of Sunil, who is a Rao. His brother is Anil. Anil is who was shown to me in a dream where he is very wary. He's working in some forest like area. There are a number of, like, Indian boys with him, and they're setting up the camp, and whatever they're cooking also, huge bartans. Anil would never do that in India. And it's just very clear. And there's a girl who's directing him fast, like, making him do lots of work, and they're like behind time. It's like as if they have to meet some timeline, and they have to finish work quickly, and fast. So he is very, I'm just watching the whole thing in my dream, and the girl, I'm not sure is who. She's a fair girl. I don't know, is that Varsha? Can't be Varsha. But it doesn't look like an Indian forest. It looks like a foreign forest. Europe could be the place. It could be yet. So perhaps it would be interesting to know Tata's, and Misri thinks he's going to become the chairman of Tata Group, so he's being groomed by some Tata. Generally, when you want somebody to, like in the Anand Mahindra case, what is it that Pranita told me? The nephew of Anand Mahindra, who Anand Mahindra was very fond of, because he considered that young blood to be very intelligent. And so if you think that your niece, nephew, whatever it is from within your own setup is intelligent enough, they become almost automatically contenders for some placement in the company, because they can take the company forward and it stays within the family. So same with Tata and, let's say, Cyrus Mistry, or whoever those siblings are, they would have wanted to keep it within themselves. So again, I'm saying, if you are thinking of making somebody your successor, and if not your successor, then somewhere in the company, a key position, you're going to groom him yourself, and start from a young age. How can you be at odds with him suddenly in his elderly age? That most likely is because it is external intervention, pretending to be someone who's on the inside. You don't give me bad words. You have managed, whoever you are who's giving me bad words, you managed to do so much damage in so many places. What you're not understanding is ultimately the damage, if everything falls, you seen a building falling with the workers working down in the basement. If this building has to fall, all of us will to go, but all the load will fall on whom? Those who are in the basement, on the ground level. So same when you are trying, in the name of doing good, you are unscrewing lots of good work done by others with full knowledge of what they were doing. You're calling it Samman. That is a PFI issue, but that is also connected with some nefarious groups that you don't want to be a part of. And also they are not friends with India. So then when everything falls, it is going to fall on you only. Yet Tosca, ROM, RAM connected with some AO, surely not muskmelon. Men cannot have melons, girls have melons. The more melon they have, the more the men go lattu. But then that's the time when They are most vulnerable. Off to sleep, it takes not much time to have the brain chipped. Then they start acting like monkeys. Then they do all the wrong activities without realizing that they are brain controlled. So anyway, yet Tosca, Rom, Ram, suit E. So there is an interaction of, then we have AO, we have Om, we have Rao, we have Am, we have Ra. So have they gone doing this to people wearing the suits? The ones wearing the suits are who? Obviously the ones who are at the top of the management of large companies. Now they also, God only knows whether this is the MLM effect or they're doing this with their own brain. The thing about robots, the thing about our vacuum cleaners is what? The vacuum cleaner knows what it is doing. Our slow cooker knows what it is doing. But everything is in place to make it do what it has to do. What do we have to do? Press few buttons and it will do its entire work. If it is a slow cooker, it can be for how much ever time, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. But the work gets done. It is on the back end architecture. So if that, without insulting anybody, but if the human being becomes the CPU, becomes just an external shell, pressing few buttons on the keyboard makes the human being, who is a shell, it sets off thought patterns to do all the work the way you want it to do, just the way the slow cooker will be functioning on its own, doing its work with you pressing few buttons and getting what you want. What does the slow cooker know about it? Or what does any instrument know about it? So that's what the ROM and the RAM is, right? Now there is the word sui also. Sui क्या होता है? वो needle होता है. तो वो jabbing वाला needle होता है. Either you're talking about tailoring business where you are sewing things together, SEWING, where you need the sui, जो needle होता है. या तो एक डॉक्टर है तो वहाँ पे भी तो ना सुई चाहिए, it's in the needle. तो either you do stitching with the needle or you give people injections, jabbing them with whatever, with the needle. Connecting them to the ROM and RAM of what and where, or dividing information amongst everybody, making everybody a ROM and a RAM. The root being who? तो दिस रीडिंग अर्लियर हैड वेल्स हैड नॉर्वे. यहाँ पे तो नॉर्वे अभी भी है. When I was told you will travel to where? Scotland. I'm बोलूँ that's very dreary place. Not dreary. I don't want to go. Then okay, Norway is very pretty. तो यहाँ पे ट्रॉम्सो तो मिला. फिनलैंड पता नहीं क्या है यहाँ पे. And Wales. That was in the previous reading. England. So everything is going back to this EU place only. यहाँ पे ना ट्रेटर ही है, हैव टू से इट. I don't know. I have never signed up for anything, so we are not. We're most certainly not. We are most certainly not a traitor because you've never asked me my permission. You go on your own bloody. You think nobody is going to find you out because everything you're doing hidden in this cheap manner, and it is okay for now times. Not everybody understands this technology, but that doesn't mean you take advantage of it. You ask permission. You don't lie about people. You have lied. My entire bloody life you have lied. Ever since I was 13, 14 years old. So cheap you've taken it to the streets. और जहाँ जहाँ कुत्ते पैसे देखे दुम हिलाते रहे. With no thought about what is okay and what is not. Then you dare to call me naive. Knave. That's what Ritu has called me. Too righteous, too self-righteous, too naive. She doesn't say knave. She says naive. That she said the same thing about being argumentative. Jaya, you're too argumentative, and I say no, but I feel this way. All the time you say it's this, then she says but after that, and then she changes it. Yeah, because if we are arguing something, we look at the good side and the bad side. And if there's a bad side, we say, okay, this is okay from this point of view that you are saying, but then from the other side, this is not working. She got a problem with that also. Calls me argumentative, then calls Toby also argumentative. I want my grandfather's genes back. Whoever this miscreant is who has taken out everything, making me look like my mother, but I've never looked like my mother in my life. No, you can't do this all the time. So anyway, over here, OYO traits use EM. So the suits, when they are meeting up, they must have traveled to other locations also at some point in time. Their agenda is known way in advance. Every brain of every entrepreneur is grabbed. But when you are getting access to the YO and grabbing his brain to make it your own, are you fixing him with a parallel artificial ROM RAM through which you can connect to his brain signals to make him do what you want him to do? So there is shameless taking as usual with no giving back, and from where you take, spitting on that only. This thing can only be sorted out if you find the SATA drive, find the NOK, get rid of the whatever it is, the tower, and you bloody well don't allow that Starlink to come here. He will go to war with you if you don't allow him to come here. then India be prepared for a war. Worse still, if these CEOs are in this position, where when the time is right, they will go with decisions they would have not ever gone with their own brain, because they would see it quicker than even I have seen it. Now I'm supposed to be brain controlled, but then why am I able to give this kind? Why am I looking at it from this angle? Who does it serve? First and foremost, I think the towers and the anything connected with telephony, broadband, satellite, there has to be a way to deal with it. So does it require, is the 3 days of preparation switching off those towers for 3 days? Let us know in advance so we stock up for that time. Then you do the outage. Then see how everyone is behaving, including yourself. Then see what the reaction from abroad is. Do you almost immediately get attacked? Because one thing, if I've understood about these people, they preempt everything. They expect everything is going to work according to how they preempt reactions, primarily because everything is a digital network, all done sneakily and hidden. They don't expect it to be found out. They expect to stamp down on your brain before you find them out. So far, they've been able to run with the ball all these years ahead of everything. So it is expected, according to their algorithm calculations, that they will be able to stamp down on your brain faster. Then you call them out on their game and then put an end to it before they reach to your brain. It's called the Game of Thrones. So if we have no power for 3 days, it will be tough. We don't have, we have to prepare accordingly. You try it. I don't know if your first outage will work or you will need to have more outages. It is tough, but if that's the only thing, to understand what has happened, then so be it. And since everything around India has been, everyone can understand, things have already toppled all over. So then when the kill for India comes, it's really going to be the killing. From Pakistan to Sri Lanka, they've had problems. To Nepal, to Bangladesh most recently. Jammu Kashmir has been a problem from a long time. In here is Umesh's name also. Yes, in Bangalore the YEO meets were much. I know about the YEO only because of some of those who were managing directors or directors mostly. All this is back to 2000, prior to 2003, 2004. Whoever did the job at Forge Aswell of changing my identity, cutting off my Hukumat Rai Advani genes, my father genes, you did so and brought it to my notice only in 2009 sometime. That's when you told me you have gone on your mother. Kosh also says you are like your mother. Kani also says you are like your mother. But prior to that, I was always like my father from 1973. That means you gene edited me at that time, but it showed itself only now in this house last 4-5 years. But the preparation of it you laid ground in 2008, 9, 10 sometime. Then fast forward to my own photos looking very different, which Akshay Kukreja has taken out of me in New Zealand, and I say, do I really look like this? But I say, maybe this is what I look like. That is 2011, 12 sometime, 12. Now here when I am seeing my photos straight in the steel box, stainless steel box, we're saying, hey, 1 minute, here though I'm looking like my mom, but I never look like my mom ever. So you are trying to fool Kira in America, and that is actually just Kiran uncle's ego upon that Kira. It is not really, uncle is not alive anymore, nor is Anu, my mom. You have taken their conscience, their ego, and put it upon whoever it is, that style of standing, that style of climbing up that plane. That reminds me of what Kira has done 2010 in my mom and uncle's home in Lonavala. But that time only I was questioning the behavioral pattern. I said, 1 minute, this is different. Face is Kiran uncle, but the style is not Kiran uncle's. Same to who you have brought over here to reroute the router outside my main door. What have you done? That shameless bugger has walked onto the floor. He has walked like Akhil, but Akhil Gupta is no more. You have got his ego, you put it on that guy. But when he has stood over there with something in his hand, he has stood how I have seen Kira standing. In later years, Swati face guy. Whereas Kiran uncle is what? Fair, Chikna, Vaishnav Bhatia. And he's got a different style altogether. So now recently in the last 4 months, you have bought that guy who's rerouted the router, walking onto the floor from the stairway like he is Akhil Gupta, but standing over there overlooking what those two men were doing, standing over there like Kira. So if you can do that over here outside my door, why can't you have put that ego upon a Donald Trump who's being called out to be the body of mystery, with the C missing in the Tosca, with the Ram Ram Rao AO Umesh is Umesh, UMESH. And yes, he had his directorship and his shares and all that much earlier. Then how you have changed things around for Trimona, Pramila and Umesh, Hingorani, that only you know. Because their mom is Kailash Hingorani. But I'm being told that Kailash Hingorani, something happened to her along with my dad. First my dad, then his sister. Then whoever the miscreants are, they went further their network into other homes and other Edens of other people's well-established businesses. And they messed around there also. Try. He cannot be the YU of try. Try has got to do with telephony and telecom. I know about their assets because for whatever reason Kailash auntie used to tell me everything because the trust levels are so high that none of us actually care about. We've all grown up with one thing that, money is something that comes and goes. It can be taken from you overnight because it's just an external thing. But like, I think the family relationships matter. There's some very core things that matter, and I don't think mine is the only family that way. I think most good families are that way, are the values we were taught. So when it comes to these people, frankly telling you, everything that was theirs connected with United Breweries and United Breweries at that time, everything my aunt used to discuss with me, and they were all settled, very well settled in the early 80s itself. From the lockers to the shares to the equity to their directorship. To the properties bought. Did I say that? So, ET, according to me, is only the ego of somebody connected with telephony and broadband, connected back to the young entrepreneurs group of people. Now, I don't know, someone met from the US. Or is this about Meta? First and foremost, Umesh's name is UMESH, not UMES. When words are not spelled properly and we don't get their full name, it means the original, anybody's guess what happened with the original. Why did I talk about knowing everything in the 80s? Because it goes back to why did Tremona have the most traumatic life? She was provided for. When I use the word Tremona, why did you play a buzzer on the right side of my body? Why did you do that? Tremona would not have problems with me at all. Her shapeshifter would have problems with me inherent to her own birth. Then taking somebody's identity shamelessly and then messing around with the rest of the family members. Don't play a buzzer from my hands or my body. Tina. तुमको सम्मान चाहिए, तुम जन्म से तो कुछ पाओ, फिर जो नेचुरली तुम्हारे पास आता है वो तुम्हारा ड्यू है. और भी चाहिए तो अच्छा कर्म करो, आगे जाके तुमको मिलेगा. लेकिन शेमलेसली किसी और का आइडेंटिटी लेके, तुम्हारा खुद का जन्म क्या है तुमको ही पता है, शेमलेसली किसी और का आइडेंटिटी चोरी करके फिर उनके जो बाकी के ओरिजिनल फैमिली मेम्बर्स हैं उन पे जाके इंसल्ट करना, that is not making you great. That is making you fall even further from this, what you are not happy with your this birth. It only gets worse and worse and worse. It is Timona, about whom it says that she is alive, but she is not in a good position. You have done something to her. So you could experience her life. But then that's called stealing. Umesh is her brother. So OUSYEO meta try. OYO met sweet try. So who is it who is doing all this fucking tailoring business of lying about everybody in India? They're using telecom to do it. Ye try comes under which? Broadcasting Ministry of India? So who's running that? How can you give everyone the wrong kind of identity and sit and insult us in our own homes? Most of them don't even know what you are doing. You have digitized everything. So when we are spending big money earned by our forefathers, you are calling us Benam. It is coming from TRI, connected with your Broadcasting Ministry of India. So who actually is in that ministry? How many are actually homegrown Indians? How many are pretending to be Indian? How many are the infiltrators? In the gap between the Aadhaar card being suggested with the biometrics 2003 and finally it becoming an absolute requirement post 2016. You are playing filthy games, the Islam way, on Indian soil, fooling the Hindus. The only motivation you have is greed. You are an atheist, you are the anti-God. Yes, sold Sita, sold Gita, anti-Indi, Satan. Has Indian politics ever been fought on the back of a Bhagavad Gita in the name of God? How has Indian politics ever been fought from 1947 and even prior to that? When has anyone picked up a religious book? And when a religious book has been picked up in other cultures, other countries, other religions, how has it been used? When it is connected with politics, governance, or then talking about jihad. Now you started a new thing about Samman. So you're talking about freedom, then you're talking about respect. Yet you do all the bad karma to grab. Then how can you get good births where you get wealth also naturally and respect also naturally? And those who get good births and respect, over there you went, stole, shat, spat. And you think you are somebody. No, you're a nobody. Except for, frankly telling you, very stupid. But then this stupidity has already played out on the camps, the Islam style, what you today are calling terrorists. So this guy, these people have met, try as a suit connected with Rai, 100 at try, directly or indirectly. Could have sent various people because they will never go with their own face. Could have sent 100 people for different, sneaking around, finding out this, finding out that from different departments and try. Then who they wish to either replace or then chip. That also would have happened. They won't even know about it. This lot is very sly and they don't do anything straightforward. बोलूँ अगर हराम खोरगिरी तुमको कभी कुछ सीखना है, जो इसके पीछे है वो एंटी गॉड. He has done like a zillion PhDs in being a haram khor and an haram E. Frankly telling you, ये 100 करोड़ PhD किया है, इतना हराम आदमी है या इतना हराम ई औरत है. Don't know whether it is a man or it is a woman, but an absolute horrible being. No ethics, no morals, none whatsoever. Sometimes we have to think, is it possible कि उसके that is being controlled by something else, that there is just no ethics, no morals. And slime ball, बोलूं, every time I think of that energy na, I don't know where to place it, but that energy is highly repulsive. एक बड़ा repulsive energy है. So they have used Sai, either Shirdi Sai Baba as a crutch or Satya Sai Baba as a crutch. It's not true, it's true. Now the best part over here is we have the name Taru, who's my father's brother, Mr. Tarachand.ADVANI. But I say it is Taylor in later photos. Let's say the last time that Mr. Tarachand.ADVANI visited India in the year 2000 and what, 5, 4? Around 5. I think it was 5. So over there I noticed, hey, 1 minute, my chacha is looking little like, they have superimposed Taylor's photo on my chacha's photo in one new photo that was given to everybody of the 5 siblings. But that was distributed amongst all the siblings in later years. It wasn't the original one. So Taru Chacha has his own looks. I know what his original looks look like. In the later years, it is looking like Rajan Taylor's face superimposed on my chacha's face. Rajan Taylor's family is known as Masi. Where my mom used to stay in her home, they are from London. That is the same boy whose grandparents, Masi being his grandmother, she and her husband had left for Kenya or I don't know, some place in South Africa first. They had a very tough time. She, I think, did a little tailoring business from her home. That's how they got the name Taylor, or they were called tailors in India. I don't know. I don't know the exact history. But they had a very tough time. Then they moved to the UK. There also they had a very tough time. Then okay, this generation, the third generation, which is Rajan Taylor and his cousins, they became more well settled. Then he went on to become a doctor. But they used to visit the Sai organization of Puttaparthi and Whitefield. So his grandmother, who's called Masi, she had her room in Puttaparthi, and her daughter Shobha also had a room above in the same building, on the nearby building in Puttaparthi. Then they had bought a apartment also near Whitefield, Sai Gardens, which then they wanted to sell off suddenly. 2009, 10, 11, 13 sometime. Kiran uncle helped you, but that's not Kiran uncle. He used to call him Kaka. No, not him. By then, Kiran uncle had already been changed to Kira. And I was wondering why y'all were involving him in your sale of property. And going all the way to Bombay, and I don't know, just sounded really weird. Don't play these sounds of lift shaft sound in my home. Don't do that. I have met Rajan Taylor only twice or thrice. I don't really know him. That also only on his one trip in India. After that, I have no clue. So Taru Sai, I have a feeling is maybe it is Rajan Taylor morphed photo with Taru Chacha. But there is no connect actually. Taru Chacha would never have met Rajan Taylor. Rajan Taylor doesn't know Taru Chacha at all. Taru Chacha lived in America, Virginia, Richmond ever since he left from India. That was sometime in the late 60s. And then he very rarely visits India. हाँ वो लेट है, तारू चाचा लेट है. But then it is of great interest because his wife Cynthia was working in somebody's, I don't know who, but she was working in Washington, connected to the White House. So the YEO met Rajan Taylor, I have a feeling, I don't think he could have ever met Taru Chacha through Sai. There's no chance. The fact that I have already identified, okay, wait 1 minute, this photo looks morphed, it looks like Taylor into Taru Chacha's photo. Yet I have Taru Chacha's earlier photos, so we know what he looked like. And no, there is no overlap of Taylor. So maybe through artificial intelligence or something you could have morphed two things together. But then that chance you would have got only in which year? I think only when he visited India in 2005. But then 2005 is before all the problems started in 2006 onwards at Fojasville and then wherever else it spread to. Whereas Taru Chacha's wife Cynthia was working in which year with which administration of which government in the US, that also has to be thought of. Not exactly Russia, but close to Russia. That again goes to EU. YEO met Russia at Russia EU. Could be a borderline issue, I don't know. But then again it goes to your Finland. I'm not sure of the map. He's playing flit sounds in my body all the time. He or she. Sia is Sanyogata Saxeria's daughter. Sanyogata Saxeria, her friends had to do with the Khaitan company, Lodha company. I say her husband Sandeep could shapeshift if we look at him very carefully. I never thought about this Piramal boy. But I say Sandeep can do a shape-shifting job for Piramal if he wishes to. Piramal himself is not being properly spelt. It's being wrongly spelt, which means there's a problem. Sia is definitely Sayuda Saxeria's daughter. I say Sayuda Saxeria changed in her ways. The last that I met her, she was too emotional, which I don't see her actually being that way. Plus, she was different in her style because she was favoring her son. Whereas when Sia was born, Sia was her whole world. But I have never really seen her to be a person to have. She's more broad minded than I am, is my understanding of her. She's more open, she's more broad minded, she's more fearless, more just lives life how she wishes to live it. So I actually questioned some couple of traits of hers 2013 if I met her, or 14, whenever. And I said that's weird because this is not like the Sanyogata I know. She's like a little strange. It's like different. What got her to react this way? I just said maybe the pressure is on her too much and so she's reacting different. It could be her private home issue. But she's already been married now about, I think, more than 10 years. So she should have settled down. She has moved from that Thames River apartment of hers or townhouse of hers. She's got now a nice country house and she's very happy. It's got a front yard, backyard, all of that. So why is she, and all that has finished for her in 2007 or 8 sometime. So now why is she different? So connected with Sia, these are the things I can come up with. Because Sanyogata is her mother. Sanyogata's home, when she was living along the river Thames in that townhouse, she says that her house was broken into, nothing was stolen, but it had been ransacked in some way and she didn't know why. So I just left it. On the back of it, what happened is she and Pushu also fell out with each other. There was this big email thing that went around amongst everybody, but that had never happened in the past. The one referring it was Himansha. I got the email, but I didn't bother replying to it nor anything. I kept myself out of it because Sanyogata Saxeria and Pushu Lakhani, her name is Lakhani. Yeah, Pushu Lakhani. She has a twin and she's Pushu, her sister is there. She and Sanyogata have been friends from Alexandra days when they were in school. So they're like sisters. So interfering in their setup doesn't make sense. Yet there was a falling out in 2008, then 2013-14, again still Sanyogata had a problem with Pushu. She has aired her grievances, but I don't know what to say about it. So these are some changes that have happened in very close relationships. I say it happens only when either the cortex has been messed with, or the original has been removed and somebody's come in her place. Then she's looking to make all the problems with everybody else in that setup. This strange style of functioning I've been observing in various groups from the very beginning. Sayugata's fault was what? We had gone to Haveli for dinner. Over there, the manager reprimanded her daughter, who was a child, mustn't have been more than 2-3 years old. Sayugata's whole life is in that child. So, okay, the child, and now Sayugata is very happy because her husband's doing well, she's married well, they are moving up in life. She's got what she wants. The manager has reprimanded her child once or twice, and then maybe he's a little more forceful the second time. Sayugata completely lost it and fired the manager, and she's very upset. But I would, if Sayugata is alive, I would like Sayugata to go back into the timeline. Her house got ransacked or got broken into before or after this incident, because everything is linked. I don't know if we're talking about zero met true psi at where? 0? Or tau? Or sati? Or SAIT, AO. Erla, South Africa, connected with technology. South America for Rio. It cannot be this, no? Something connected with Times of India, could be even just the actors, actresses, then to Meta, somebody from South Africa pretending to be something that they are not, amongst them at the Meta. Someone from South Africa was shapeshifting at a Meta do with all the Indians, but somebody over there was from South Africa and they didn't let you know. Times of India could have covered the event, or Times of India happens to be there simply because, well, they're obviously some part of Times of India is connected with events as well as Bollywood, Tollywood, Gollywood, whatever it is. The external part is South, either this is South Africa or South America. So amongst you was somebody or some people with their own vested interest either from South Africa or South America. So meeting Taru was a setup by whom? That Taru you must have met mustn't have been my father's brother. Exchanging people is what they're very good at doing. एक ओरिजिनल को एक डुप्लीकेट से मिलाओ और दूसरे ओरिजिनल को दूसरे डुप्लीकेट से मिलाओ. ओरिजिनल जो एक्चुअल मीटिंग होना चाहिए वो हो ही नहीं रहा है. Changing people around along with intercepting calls. Thanks to try. But try के 100 लोगों को जब मिला है वो भी स्नीकी तरीके से. You remember मंत्रालय, there was a bomb blast. How did that happen? But that was a bomb blast. So even when 100 लोगों को try के अंदर मिला है, it feels like a normal day. It feels like people are coming and going. But who amongst them don't have a good intent and they're shape shifting in and out of try, and then when they're in that place, are they raking the place with the way they did it with Taj? What are they grabbing that nobody knows about? What are they actually slyly picking up? What are they plugging when they are coming and going from the buildings? They are very quick at leaving things around, huh? Very, very, very quick. They're very nimble in their fingers and everything is very destructive. उनको इतना टाइम नहीं लगता है चीज़ों को लगाने के लिए घर के अंदर, ऑफिस के अंदर, लेकिन उसका जो डेविस्टेटिंग इफेक्ट है वो बहुत लंबा समय के लिए चलता रहता है और उसको निकालना फिर because it is going to the tower, it is going to things beyond the human control. This also that you have fitted in this plastic, is it the plastic because The plastic you have coated that does this useless talk, or is it have you fitted a device inside the fan that's doing the talk? But whatever you fitted in, wherever you have fitted, whatever be the technology, it is taking it back to my ability to hear because of what you fitted within my setup, whether it's the glasses, whether it's internal, whether it's external. It is taking it to that database of pre-recorded stuff, what you call conscience. Yeah, if you can 3D print, you can code it also with sound. It's like a mixtape. If it is a small little screw, फिर वो भी तो 20 years ago or 10 years ago you were getting small screws which have hidden camera in it. That also is possible. Then it is possible कि screw जो है वो mic बने. Everything today, if cameras can be Wi-Fi, why can't the mic also be connected Wi-Fi? If when we are able to print from the printer to the mobile telephony, just having one common IP address, then why can't you use wireless for other things? So try is very important. And that telephony and the tower and the satire and that knock and all that technology and satellite is very important. That's what needs to be dealt with. What is it? White hat? What white hat? What nonsense are you talking and where are you throwing voice from? Jaya White Hat? There is no Jaya White Hat. Keep that mouth shut. All the time stealing. I pagal le. Varsha's no more. She's no more. वो जो मैड मैडर है वो कौन है, उसका असलियत हमको बताओ. हु इज दैट? हु इज मैड मैडर? Yeah, met Taru IT SEO. I don't know if we should take this together. RA is Ramesh Advani. Rao is Rao. Back to the EU. Frankly telling you, my mom doesn't know SEO and all that. हाँ, उसको नहीं आता है all these things. And meta and all that, she doesn't. Yeah, met Rao. Use IT. Or it is Rao US ITE. Or then EU US. Sunil would have gone to America much earlier. That is on the back of Ravi marrying Varsha. Sunil was there at the wedding. I don't think he was there for my wedding. 1 year later. So he would have left for America. Then he worked his way into settling into America. But then he was doing all kinds of jobs in LA. LA is very tough to settle down in. He was connected with, doing work in the film line only. If Anil had to go abroad, he would have probably gone to Europe. because you can get a holiday visa to America, but then you got to return. Whereas in Europe, it is possible that you could have got the Shenzhen visa. But then you got to keep your head above water, so you got to find work. So he must have found work, but that work was pretty tough. Then who would have even given him the idea of going to Europe? Did she get him to do the job? That job is very tough. He's not used to it. Yeah, met Rao, AIETUS. So you make an ET about somebody only after you have actually killed them, taken them into isolation, pulled out their conscience, gotten rid of them, uploaded the conscience of the original upon the duplicate. In this case, it is supposed to be a man called Tom. Sunil is Sunil. We never get his name spelled properly at all. It is his brother Anil who said suddenly at Bora Bora restaurant, what? And you thought, what can we do with the ego of Nikhil Advani on him, Ramesh Advani's son? What you are doing is you are the one who's creating the harassment factor for the original. Silently, you are also stealing their conscience. Once you get rid of the original, you take their conscience, which is unhappy because you made them unhappy. You put it on the duplicate and make the duplicate do your dirty work, taking it further without the original being involved. So you take you take a duplicate, put the conscience of the original who's already killed, play that conscience on the back of this new weapon of yours who is actually not the original. And you make them make the issue of things that could have been an issue but would have been dealt with very differently by the original. You have done this in many cases. So let's say Varsha and I would have fought as a kid, which all siblings do. You will grab something about Varsha's conscience of that time, dump it on Varsha's duplicate, but then skew it with your own thinking because you like to know what is pain, you know what is influence. You like Satan t-shirts, Satan dress up, get up, Halloween. So the root deals with situations her way, not the way the original would have dealt with it. Because what happens is, under normal circumstances, fights are momentary. If it is between siblings, what happens? You fight with your sibling, you'll fight. Then after 1 hour, you are friends. Then there are so many good things that happen that you don't even remember you fought earlier. You don't even remember what you fought about. It's just natural in relationships between people. But if that is only the clip and the bit and the bite that you are picking up and dumping it upon the duplicate of the original who you've done away with and grab their conscience before you did it, then it is somebody else deciding how to deal with the situation, because they're not seeing the situation in its entirety. You're not seeing the entire lifespan of the person. You're looking only at that one situation and then deciding to moral police on it. How you deal with it, superimposing that conscience on somebody else, and then going into places like a parasite, messing up proper situations for people who have moved, who are in an okay environment. You're messing everything up, and you're doing it through telephony and through the tower and through this broadband and through that Wi-Fi and through the satellite. You're screwing around with very old, frankly telling you, basi conscience of people who are not even alive to deal with their own situations, and you are the same one who has gotten rid of them. Neither have you allowed them to have actually their last rites done properly. So in a soul level, they are also like still waiting for somebody to let them go to their lokas once the rites are done in a proper manner. Then, as usual, shamelessly steal. And do what with when you are shamelessly stealing? Shamelessly deal with it. This is an inherent trait you have had within you from the very beginning. Not even sparing those who you have grabbed conscience from, they are no more in the body. You see how shameless you are. You realize how shameless you are. Now, what about those that you have trained from the younger generations? Playing these lift shaft sounds in my home is not quite doing it. Now the word mar actually means to kill. So Mara Lago is Trump's place, but in Hindi, if the shapeshifter is from India or from anything that speaks Urdu and Hindi, the word Mara means to kill, but in the past tense. Mare means, or maro is to kill. It is only the work of the ET connected with some people who worked in Times of India, connected to Times of India in the past. They have gone to kill US. I told you this only before, simply because a new story started post 2009-10 somewhere, where Kiran uncle is saying, those are Muslims, that's Mia class. He's never done it in the past. He's a little conservative, okay, and that's okay. But he doesn't degrade anybody. He's never he's never discriminatory against anybody. He also says US is going to be finished. US is going to be finished. I say, but US is going to be finished, but you have never spoken this way. US is far away, makes no difference. What US does, US does. We live in India, we don't like something. Our neighbor may be more broad-minded or very conservative, but that's their home, that's Bombay. We keep it to ourselves. If we want something that we want, let's say, a group of people in our family to follow, then we will keep it to the family, na? Okay, this is okay, that's not okay. You can do this, you don't do that. But we'll keep it within our family. What values we give our children, or we as children get, we're not going to go and, decide for our neighbors. No, they are good in their own place. So what values we give to our children, if our neighbors' values are more conservative or then more broad-minded, we're not going to interfere with them. तो दैट इज तो ओनली द नेबर. अब इंडिया में रह के अमेरिका का कहाँ के सोच रहे हैं. He's never done it in the past. Nobody in our setup does it. But now he has gone on this trip of saying, no, India, US is going to be finished. That LA is going to be completely finished. I say, I don't know where this has come from. I say, okay, uncle. This is saying the same thing. I'm telling you, Kiran uncle's ego, or Kira's ego, has been taken and put on Trump. But Trump's body is supposed to have Cyrus Mistry hiding under that. Cyrus Mistry is not supposed to be really thinking with his own brain. He's only a shell with behavioral patterns superimposed on him of Kira. And I say Kira is different from Kiran uncle. The remote control is in the hands of somebody outside. connected back to EU in some way, but then I think it's back to the Modi camp. Without insulting him, but the point is, if it is coming to this, then everything needs to be checked. How have I started looking like my mother after coming to this home? Where's my father? You're calling me Benam. How dare you? How many people are showing as not in their body as of now? What about all of them? We cannot play to your tunes all the time in this cheap manner. It's not okay. And you are basically playing everybody one against the other. The only one who's sitting and, playing games is you on the outside of the chessboard. There are too many people who've been affected. So far, we managed to keep our head above water for a particular reason. Now, that reason even you know. Let's hope through Starlink you're not planning to clamp down on that reason. Now the word maro means what? It is not in the past. When you say jao usko maro, do you ever say wo usko maro tha? If you're talking in the past tense, you will say usko mara tha. वो बड़ा मार खाया पहले वहाँ पे, या वो जाके आगे जाके मार खाएगा. But when you use the word maro for killing, generally what tense is it? It generally is present tense, or it is the future, near future tense. So if there is a girl who screams and says, oh usne humko haath lagaya, then at least in Bombay it's quite common. Then the public gets all agitated and say, chappal leke usko maro. And they'll all chase the guy. They'll start to chase the guy to hit the guy. So it's kind of the present tense or then the near future tense. Better take cognizance of this. India cannot get great on this. He is giving you everything you want to hear. He will deliver nothing. He's an ugly, ugly soul, or she is an ugly, ugly soul. And he doesn't function alone. They know exactly how they play it. He's from the low ranks of the Middle East, pretending to be Indian. Brought in all his low rank people from other countries, pretending to be Indian to help him in his effort. So don't be fooled. So I'm going to close this reading over here because I'm going to go and have lunch now. It's 12:30. I'll come back in the evening perhaps if she says I've still to continue this reading. I'll check with her now only. It is 12:30 in the afternoon right now. It's 17th. 17 is Kiran Uncle, real Kiran Uncle's birthday. 17th of August is when his birthday is. So 17th of March 2025. 12:30 is when I'm going to close this reading off. So today also was a good day. It's primarily destiny number 2 and a Monday, and 8 also. So Saturn, Moon, they say wish, but no, I don't think so. Saturn, Moon and Moon being a Monday. Okay, I'll ask over here only if I still need to continue or she's managed to get the message out that was for all of this reading. Okay, so I'll just do a check still. I don't have a foreign voice. You get irritated with my Indian accent. No, you made lots of fun of it during my trip to New Zealand. Love my accent, right? It's an Indian accent because I've grown up here. तो हमको foreign voice क्यों निकालती है? मत करना. Okay, Mama, I need to ask you one more thing. If you with me? I want to know, I'm going to be closing this session for now over here. I want to know in the evening, do you still want me to continue with this topic? Is there still more that is to be found out? Do you need me to still continue with the topic? The key message that you wanted to give that's come out of this read, what had to be said, the key messages been found out? Okay, so thank you very much. I'm going to close this. I'm eating your favorite, paneer and peas and some curd rice. Okay, I'm closing this. Okay. So as you know, she said no need to continue doing this. We will close this session here only. Okay, we will call it the final session being this session, and we'll probably move on to something new either this evening or then tomorrow. Okay.